They made a part 4.
'Tis the season, the most wonderful time of the year. Celebration with friends and family. It's time to pay tribute to this jolly month. So join us as we get into the Christmas spirit. You've heard of Elf on the Shelf, but this is Venom on the Shelf.
I mean, the first 3 summed up the story perfectly. Everything was nicely wrapped up, and despite a little cliffhanger of Jack heading off to find the Fountain of Youth, another one wasn't really needed. But let's Toy Story up this bitch!
All part of the plan.
The whole film is about everyone trying to reach the Fountain of Youth to become immortals, basically the complete opposite of the plot in the first film. Why the fuck is this one called On Stranger Tides? Every other one, the plot ties around the title. This one, they're going to the Fountain of Youth. I don't know what you call it. It's on the sea and there's tides. And it's pirates, so it's a bit strange. Stranger Tides!
I understand everything.
To their credit, Jerry Bruckheimer did admit when the third one came out that it was the end, but he was open to a spin-off. However, after the huge financial success of Part 3, Hollywood naturally saw... and a 4th one was now in the works. But for the first time in the franchise, Gore Verbinski wasn't able to return to direct as he was busy making Rango. So Rob Marshall was brought in instead. He claimed it excited him as it was a whole new storyline and characters, and it felt new and important to him.
No.
Dick Cook was the chairman of Walt Disney Studios at the time, but in September 2009 he resigned after 38 years service, which dented Johnny Depp's faith in this movie. He claimed that Cook was the one who always truly believed in his portrayal of Jack Sparrow since the beginning.
There should be a captain in there somewhere.
The movie was somewhat based on the 1988 novel On Stranger Tides, which is quite literally the only explanation for the title. But Jack Sparrow isn't in the book.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Barbossa isn't in the book. So they just did whatever the hell they wanted. They could have changed the entire title if they felt like it.
No, you don't understand, mate.
Johnny Depp only agreed to return if the script was half decent. Disney forked out over $55.5 million, admitting that without Depp, the franchise would be dead and buried. Some reports claim that Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley were asked to come back, but both refused, believing that they had taken their characters as far as they needed to go, and that they wanted to focus on different things. Whereas other reports claim they weren't even asked, as the producers wanted to take the movies in completely different directions. Some reports claim that Bill Nighy wanted to return as Davy Jones despite dying in the last movie, claiming that Barbossa came back from the dead, but why can't he? And the producers replied, nah. However, Bill Nighy himself said,
it was kind of a very lonely place to be on a big American film set, dressed as an idiot. And I just used to think of the money. They gave me quite a lot of money, so I just used to think of the money all the time. I just go around thinking of the figure. But they ran out of jokes. I mean, people would look at you and just go, hi, you know, and they just couldn't look at you. It was just too sad. It was tragic to see this old guy wandering about in pajamas.
So is that a no? But this movie, to this day, is the single most expensive movie ever made. Just really think about that. Not the Avengers, not Batman, not Star Wars, not Harry Potter, not James Bond, not Mission Impossible, but motherfucking Pirates 4, costing $378.5 million to make. And it did still somehow manage to earn back its budget, grossing over $1 billion in returns.
What?
However, it was still poorly received by critics. The fans felt like Jack Sparrow,
Captain Jack Sparrow,
had outstayed his welcome. The series had run out of ideas and they were just milking the cow dry at this point. Mark Kermode came back to claim it's not as staggeringly misjudged as the third part because it is just nothing. It is just a big empty nothing. Whereas part 3 I think was an active atrocity. It's just nothing at all.
Ha, thought.
It's quite shocking that this was the first one that fans didn't truly love, as Johnny Depp was heavily involved in the story and writing. He had a lot to do with this one.
Why are you?
Fucking dead, mate. I mean, at least they managed to capture the feel of the last 3, just casually discussing hanging to children.
What do we have here?
I do have friends.
Not necessary. You were saying?
No, I do not think it's amusing.
Is that so?
The divorce had remained under the radar up to that point.
I think that would be a poor defense unless you want to be bludgeoned again like a harp seal.
It's also scarily accurate for its time. They don't care about evidence and just claim they're guilty just so they can see a hanging. Johnny Depp is obviously noticeably older now, but to be fair, he does still nail this performance and has some genuinely funny moments.
What were you doing in a Spanish convent anyway?
Mistaken for a brothel, honest mistake.
We take the ship then! Now!
Go on then.
During filming, funnily enough, a Jack Sparrow impersonator actually walked onto set and nobody stopped him and asked for ID because he looked and acted so much like Johnny Depp they didn't even question it. It also turns out that someone in the movie is impersonating Jack, so he's taken to see the King, played by Uncle Vernon.
I've heard of you, and you know who I am.
Harry Potter's evil uncle.
The Spanish have located the Fountain of Youth.
Morgan Freeman was spotted bathing in it. The biggest problem in this film is what the fuck they have done to Barbossa. He was such an intimidating threat in the previous films, but now he's the King's bitch. Throughout the movie, he's pretending to work with the King so he can get to the fountain for himself, but now he's a complete pussy. What have they done to him? He doesn't even do anything, he just pisses about the entire film. He used to be Captain Hector Barbossa, now he's fucking Mrs. Nesbit. Run for your lives, he's drinking tea and eating scones. I'd sooner he just get killed off than be subjected to this. He's a shell of his past self.
Give up this madness now.
I cannot.
Until I truly know what the inside of the King's rectum tastes like, It is still as charming as always whenever Jack manages to escape. Although it is a nice reminder that he really isn't an escape genius. He's just a lucky drunk bastard who just somehow isn't dead yet. But wouldn't it just be quicker to run on foot? He goes back and forth on carriages and shit, but doesn't really get anywhere. Just run! The imagery does look great as he leaves the fiery coals behind him though. The script might be arse at points, but the production is really well handled. And of course his pops just so happens to be in town to save him. Johnny Depp and Keith Richards actually campaigned hard to get Mick Jagger in the film, but he just wouldn't do it.
I did not.
He finds his impersonator and they have a sword fight which looks pretty sick, before discovering that it's his ex-girlfriend Penelope Cruz. Certainly hid her identity better than Elizabeth.
That is not a compliment.
We later find out she impersonated Jack to gain the pirates' trust to get them onto the ship, but we also later find out that she is the daughter of the infamous pirate Blackbeard. So why would she need to impersonate Jack in the first place? Your dad is Blackbeard!
There is a prophecy. Maybe you don't believe in the supernatural.
In a world with giant kraken monsters and zombie pirates, there are still people who aren't sure if the supernatural exists. How did Jack know that that was there? Or did he just trust her enough to go with it? And why does nobody follow them down? What, none of them can swim? And also, this movie has a real big problem with religious people.
Always going on about the Lord Almighty.
Bible thumper on this ship?
I'm not with you, neither am I against you. Can he do that?
He's religious, I believe it's required.
I will tear every scale from her body one by one if I see fit. If that displeases you, go pray.
So Jack is taken aboard a ship and hears about the famous Blackbeard, but he doesn't really believe that he's actually on there, so they all try to take control to no avail. It looks cool as they're all punished, but it's just another case of the villain having the perfect opportunity to kill Jack, but never actually doing it because reasons. I do like Blackbeard, I mean he's no Barbossa, but he toasts a man to death. He's very threatening, but when you look at it, is this just not the first movie again? It's another Dark Captain kidnapping the heroes as they're trying to find an ancient mythical artifact. After 4 movies, it is getting pretty tedious. And if Child's Play didn't make Voodoo Dolls silly enough already, let's throw it into Pirates of the Caribbean as well.
I did not note any fear in the eyes of the Spanish as they passed us by. Are we not King's men? Aye!
And are we not trying to cling on to this damn franchise for dear life?
Aye!
We must not stop.
So they go hunting for a mermaid, probably sent by YouTube commenters to try to kill off the new Ariel. Oh, thank God she's white. Not sure why they're all so scared though. The last time a pirate met a mermaid, it went down pretty well. Naturally, one pirate thinks with his dick and gets lured in, but Jesus Christ, mermaids are brutal vampires in this. What the fuck, Disney? It's practically a horror movie and I love it. These little shits are scary as hell. And they actually try to sell this love story, but there's nothing there. She loves him because he's trying trying to help her and he'll make a nice meal for later, and he loves her because tits. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but Will and Elizabeth had a better love story. At least they knew each other. This is just lame. They basically have to collect 2 chalices and drink the Fountain of Youth, which is already a cliche. You're probably waiting for examples. Well, they did it in Angel, where Spike and the titular character fight to drink this elixir to turn them mortal again. That's all I've got. But I'm sure there's more. List them in the comments. And if there isn't, it just means this movie ripped off Angel.
Oh, is that so?
The movie really doesn't make much sense. There's a whole sequence where they reach a cliff and Blackbeard won't let his daughter jump. He wants to force Jack to do it, and if he refuses, he'll murder his own daughter, knowing that Jack loves her. Jack calls his bluff, Blackbeard acts like he's going to do it anyway, it goes on for quite some time, and then Jack's voodoo doll is thrown over, which is kind of funny I guess, but shouldn't he be dead if his voodoo doll was thrown off the cliff?
Let's not get our hopes up.
But somehow, not only do they fuck up Barbossa, but they take Blackbeard, this dark, menacing, incredibly intimidating villain, and turn him into a 12-year-old boy.
You fancy her?
Grown adults wrote this. I do like how Jack can somehow back himself up all the way to the top of the tree like this instead of just wriggling underneath the fucking ropes. Half of this franchise is just Jack Sparrow escaping from things. But I must admit, it does have some clever moments where they break common cliches.
You will fight against them. They will fight against you, all on account of him wanting to kill him. Where is the sense? Exactly.
And despite Jack needing to find the chalices and clink them together and summon the devil and do the hokey pokey upside down whilst blindfolded with the blood of a virgin, everyone else somehow ends up at the fountain anyway. And then it turns out it only does it for one person. This is a bit of a waste. And they end up killing off Blackbeard, man. Why couldn't it have been Barbossa? He's been shit. But credit to Jack. She's treated him like crap the entire movie, and now she wants his help when her dad is dying. But he ain't no simp either. He switches to chalices, which saves her life and kills him, and she's a bitch about it. Dude, your dad just tried killing you. And after all of that, we have to go back to the terrible love story.
If not for me, you had never been captured.
Well, and her and her mate's trying to have you for lunch.
I hate you.
The bloke who saved your life.
The years I possess, stolen from my own father.
Who tried to kill you? What is wrong with this woman? She even tries to make up any excuse to get Jack to stay. Then she stands and watches him row away, and only after he's left does she go after him. Silly cunt. No, you're still shit. You've ruined him, guys.
Savvy.
The movie isn't really very good. I don't think it's a disgrace or anything, but compared to the last 3, it is such a step down. It makes no sense, the characters are dire, the writing is all over the place. I guess it maintains the charm of the action. It has some funny moments and the production looks nice, but other than that, it's just an unnecessary installment in a dying franchise.